What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA playoffs. Saturday, July 17th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, NBA Finals. Let's take a look at this NBA showdown between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns. So I know a lot of these picks have been the same throughout this series, but I'm going to give you my top 4 or 5 picks as we go through this video so you know the guys that I like best. Okay, let's take a look at the point guard position. I like Drew Holiday from the Milwaukee Bucks, and he's averaging 36.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He scored 40, 44, and 45 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 42, 40, and 39 minutes. Now he's projected at 42 fantasy points here tonight, and he is one of my favorite plays on the slate. So I like Drew Holiday here versus the Phoenix Suns. Okay, another point guard that I like is Chris Paul from the Phoenix Suns, and he's averaging 37.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with a 23% usage rate. He scored 20, 32, and 37 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 36, 33, and 41 minutes. He's projected at 40.9 fantasy points here tonight, so I like Chris Paul here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. I like Devin Booker from the Phoenix Suns. He averaged 37.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 33% usage rate. He scored 45, 19, and 43 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 38, 29, and 44 minutes. He had a 43% usage rate last game, and he's projected at 39.5 fantasy points here tonight. His salary is much lower than Chris Paul's salary, so Devin Booker is one of my favorite plays on the slate. He's got a great matchup, so I like Devin Booker here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, now if you're looking for a sleeper pick, a value play, take a look at Pat Connaughton from the Milwaukee Bucks. He averaged 17 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 23 minutes per game with a 12% usage rate. He scored 22, 18, and 22 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 31, 30, and 33 minutes. So he's playing a ton of minutes, and he's super low salary, and he's been pretty consistent over the last 3 games. He's projected at 20 fantasy points here tonight, so I like Pat Connaughton as a value play here versus the Phoenix Suns. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. I like Chris Middleton from the Milwaukee Bucks, and he averaged 36.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 25% usage rate. He scored 58, 36, and 34 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 43, 40, and 41 minutes. He had a 37% usage rate last game, and he's projected at 44 fantasy points here tonight. He's one of my favorite plays on the slate, so I like Chris Middleton here versus the Phoenix Suns. Okay, now if you're looking for a value play, this guy is a high risk, high reward play, and there's another player I'm going to get to in a minute that I think I prefer over this guy, but he is a little bit less salary, and he's got a good matchup. So take a look at Mikal Bridges from the Phoenix Suns. He averaged 26.8 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. He scored 16, 8, and 39 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 25, 27, and 37 minutes. He's projected at 24.8 fantasy points here tonight. So this guy's hit or miss. He's either going to make or break your lineup. Most of the time he's going to break your lineup, but he does have that 30 to 40 plus fantasy point upside, and he's probably going to be pretty low owned. So if you want to take a risk on him, he's high risk, high reward tournament play. So that's Mikal Bridges versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, another value play. This is another high-risk, high-reward play. He's getting the minutes, so he does have opportunity. Take a look at Cameron Johnson from the Phoenix Suns. He averaged 17.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 24 minutes per game with a 17% usage rate. He scored 14, 22, and 15 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 28, 30, and 18 minutes. So I like that he played 28 and 30 minutes in the last 2 games. So that puts him projected at 18 fantasy points here tonight, but he does have 20 plus fantasy point upside since he's playing nearly 30 minutes a game, and his salary is pretty low. So I like Cameron Johnson as a value play here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. We got the stud Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks. He averaged 53.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 33% usage rate. He scored 69, 68, and 71 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 42, 37, and 40 minutes. He's projected at 57.9 fantasy points here tonight, but it looks like this guy's going to put up 60 plus fantasy points a game at the way that he's going. So it's almost like you have to have him in your lineup here, but he could have an off game, but I'm not going to count on that. So he for sure is one of my favorite plays on the slate. I think he's a lock. So I like Giannis Antetokounmpo here versus the Phoenix Suns. Okay, another guy I like is Jay Crowder from the Phoenix Suns, and he averaged 21.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 27 minutes per game with a 16% usage rate. But take a look at his last 3 games. He scored 44, 30, and 31 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 39, 32, and 37 minutes. So based on his performance the past few games, he's projected at 30 fantasy points here tonight, and that does make him one of my favorite plays on the slate. So I like Jay Crowder here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, now a couple of deep sleeper picks for you. You got Bobby Portis and PJ Tucker. They're both playing between 20 and 30 minutes. Well, PJ Tucker, he's playing 30 minutes or more the past 3 games. And Bobby Portis, he's going to play around 20 minutes. But Bobby Portis is a point per minute monster, where PJ Tucker, he's the opposite of that. He'll be out there for 30 minutes and hopefully will get you 15, 20 fantasy points. But PJ Tucker is super low salary, so he doesn't need much to hit value. Bobby Portis, a little bit more expensive, but he's got more upside, especially if he can stay on the court for over 20 minutes somehow. But both of those guys are deep sleeper picks. They're high risk, high reward value plays if you want to make your lineup different. Okay, moving on to the center position. I like DeAndre Ayton from the Phoenix Suns, and he averaged 33.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with an 18% usage rate. He scored 41, 33, and 44 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 38, 24, and 42 minutes. He's projected at 38 fantasy points here tonight, but it wouldn't surprise me if he put up 40 fantasy points or more. So he's also one of my favorite plays on the slate. So I like DeAndre Ayton here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, just like last game, I'm going to stay away from Brook Lopez. He only played 19 minutes last game, only scored 17 fantasy points. So the past couple of games, hasn't played much. I think that might continue into tonight. So I'm going to stay away from Brook Lopez here versus the Phoenix Suns. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.